Welcome to another edition of C4NPR Chats. I'm Heather Bradley, the Director of the Center for Nonprofit Resources, and I want to welcome Zach Huber today. Welcome, Zach.
Thanks for having me, Heather.
Yeah, Zach's with the Toledo-Lucas County Library. And am I remembering this correctly? Your role is a new investment for people in the grants area. Is that right, Zach?
Yeah, that's right. There was a grant specialist previously, but the role has changed a little bit. There was a little bit of a gap between the people doing this. And so what happened was the library took the initiative to pull this position off the reference desk so that we could devote more time to people who are doing grant searching or need help with their nonprofit organization.
Yeah, and I'm hearing rave reviews from people who come and speak with you and your recommendations. But if someone hasn't met you yet or worked with you, can you share a little bit of your background with them today?
Primarily, I work with nonprofits who are looking for grants, whether that's nationally or locally. But my own background is coming from the nonprofit world. I worked for a nonprofit focused on arts education for 4 years, and I did marketing and fundraising for them. And then after that, I went to work for the University of Findlay and worked on their fundraising team for a couple of years as well. So kind of got a good side of both the small and large nonprofits that are serving quite the variety of areas, both education and the arts. And I had the chance to write grants, but also when I worked at the university, I was overseeing all of our endowments and scholarships. So I got the other side of how awarding works for granting endowments.
Yeah, it's great, all your experience in the field. I know that you bring that to each and every consultation. So the reason that we're chatting with Zach today is he's going to help us. I think if you've read one of our most recent issues of E-News, we're going to refresh our nonprofit Hello series. And if you hadn't had a chance to join, that was our way of opening space to allow people to engage during COVID as we all try to figure it out. And what we're announcing is we're going to start a book club with Zach's help, which we're so excited about. So Zach has made a book selection. So which book and why that book, Zach?
Sure. I have a copy of it here. So it is the only grant writing book you'll ever need, which is the perfect title. But I love this book. It's actually in its 5th edition, so you know that it's been good because it's been around for a while. But it really breaks down the whole process. It gets those building blocks out of the way for someone who's never been a part of the process. But it also gets towards the meat of the substance, where if you've been doing it for a while, but you need some tips, or you just aren't sure if you're doing it well, or maybe you haven't had formal training, it just covers the full gamut of everything. It's very easy to read. As far as nonfiction goes, non-narrative nonfiction, as in there's no story that it's telling. It's very easy to read. Sometimes they'll throw in some jokes in there, and whether they land or not, it depends on who you are with your humor. But I just think that these two people, it's Ellen Karsh and Arlen are the authors. They just have a wealth of experience, and they know how to communicate that in an easy to understand way.
Yeah, so is the rumor true that if we bumped into you at any point in time, you just might have a copy that you carry around with you?
It's been in my bag for a few weeks, actually. So usually, yeah, this is my go-to book when people want a recommendation, whether I'm in a program or if I'm meeting one-on-one, and this is my recommendation at all times.
Right. Yeah, and that's really why we thought that was an exciting choice to start a new book club. How can people decide if this book club is for them, Zach?
So there are, I think, a number of people that this would be applicable for, whether it's someone who works in a nonprofit who knows that they're doing grant writing or might think they might be doing grant writing at some point. This would be a great place to start, but also people who might be seeking grants as an individual. There are categories in there. People who might be looking to start their own grant writing business. I've had a couple people that I've worked with who want that to be their career path. So anyone who really just wants to get started on that route of writing grants, I think that it's at least worthwhile to check out. You don't have to come to all 3 sessions. They're going to cover a variety of topics, but I think that anybody who's interested would get something out of this conversation.
Dan, let's just talk about those 3 sessions for a second. So what had you decide or recommend to break this up over 3 nonprofit hello sessions?
There's a couple reasons. One is just that's how the book naturally divides. There are three major lesson points, one being prerequisites, which will start first, and they all are about just over 100 pages long. But then the second section is, when it's time to start writing the grants, and then the third is what to do after the proposal. So there are very three different sections of grant writing. And just because it is a nonfiction book, and maybe people don't exactly have the time to read the whole book in one time to go to one session, I thought that breaking it up would make it easier for professionals. I mean, not everybody has time to read, a nonfiction work that kind of affects their own work. We all have personal lives. So I figured 120 pages would be manageable because we have about 2 weeks between each session.
Right. And is it a requirement to attend all three?
No, not at all. I mean, it depends on your experience. If you want to sit through all of it, we welcome everyone to share their experience because people will be there to learn from you if you are more experienced. But if you know you have the prerequisites down, don't bother coming to the first session. Come in and when it's time to either write the grants or when we talk about after the proposal. I think if we can get kind of a mix of people there, or really help the conversation going. But I want everyone to get out of it what they can, so they can focus on those specific areas.
Yes, and a technical detail, we're going to do it in the webinar format, so there's going to be plenty of opportunity to ask questions through the Q&A box, interaction, give feedback, and so I guess the most important question is, how can people get a copy of the book?
Sure. So there are a few options. We have two through the library. You can get a physical copy of the book through our catalog. We have a few. A lot of them live here at the main library, but you can get them and request them to be picked up anywhere. And then we also have a few copies of the ebook that you can get through our Overdrive/Libby app. And I also encourage people, if they want to, and if this is something that they're going to be doing for a long time, to purchase the book, because it's great to have on hand. The back of the book has a lot of samples and templates for people to use.
Great. Well, thanks for taking the time to stop by the center today, Zach. And if you're interested in joining us for this book club, all the details are down in the description below. So how to register and the dates and the times, a link to the book if you want to try and get it out of the library, a link if you want to buy it, let's say on Amazon. And Zach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Heather.
Yeah, so we hope to see you on a future episode of C4NPR Chats. And so until next time, have a great day.